Hello, I hope this message finds everyone well. We're putting out another video message with a short list of updates that are critical, we believe, for our membership to be aware of and to know. First of all, we'll jump right in. First of all, we have the merit board elections for the IMPD that are forthcoming. Just as a reminder, the date for the merit board elections will be Tuesday, February the 26th. The times of the voting will run from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., so 0600 to 1800 hours. The voting site is located at the IMPD Training Academy at 901 North Post Road. Although it's not a centralized location for all of our folks in the city, we have worked with departmental leadership, including our Deputy Chief of Operations, who is making clear with all 6 of our district commanders directions to allow for an efficient rotation of officers while working the district that can still make it to the training academy during their shift to complete their voting if it's done between those hours. Obviously, for our late shift officers, you may consider that at the conclusion of your shift the night before, going into that morning, looking at being there first thing at 0600 to complete your vote. The one thing we want to stress is to make sure that all active officers vote in this process. This is something that is a very important step in the efficiency but also the effectiveness of oversight within the police department, and we should take all steps necessary to ensure that we have a good vote for the active members of the police department. Just a reminder, retired officers are not eligible to vote in this. However, we do encourage retired officers to share with active officers their thoughts on the candidates. Speaking of that, the candidates are listed as follows. Every officer who votes will need to vote for one candidate from each of the political parties listed. In this candidacy group, there are only 2 political parties that have submitted. That is the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. On the Democratic side, the candidates are as follows: Ron Mills, who is a retired IMPD police officer, and Casman Ramos. On the Republican side is Rick Burkhart, who is a retired IMPD officer, and Beverly Mukes Gaither. In fairness, we have heard from both Ron Mills and Rick Burkhart in terms of why they want to seek the office and what they believe their qualifications to be, much of which included their historical knowledge and expertise in law enforcement practices, as well as the investigation of use of force incidents and other components related to investigative practices. We have not heard from the other 2 candidates, being Casman Ramos or Beverly Mukes Gaither, so I'm unable to provide any feedback to you on either one of those candidates. However, the backgrounds and the resumes of all 4 candidates have been published. They should be at your district roll call sites, as well as been published by the department to personnel. I strongly encourage you to review all 4 of those and make a good decision about who you want to see sitting at the table for the merit board. Oftentimes people think of the merit board just not only involved in disciplinary matters, but they are also heavily involved in our hiring standards as well as our promotional process structures. So again, the main thing we want to stress is to get out and vote on Tuesday, February 26th from 0600 to 1800 hours. Moving on. An update on our Think Bigger initiative. One of the key components that we announced in May of 2018 is that we would be assertively moving forward on working with the governor of Indiana to install training and testing procedures related to enhanced components for all drivers in the state of Indiana to be aware of, especially as it relates to traffic enforcement, traffic investigations during traffic stops. That is done for the safety of everyone involved, including the driver, the passenger, the officers involved, as well as the passing motorists and pedestrians. In that, we have a positive update on that front after several months. We do have good working draft topics that we have received back from the governor's office, of which they are looking at finalizing to move forward with incorporating those by executive direction to the commissioner of the BMV to incorporate into the training and testing procedures for all drivers in the state of Indiana. Please stay tuned, and we hope to have a finalized list of components that we can publish and share with our officers, just so that you are aware of what drivers will be taught on the do's and don'ts during police interactions during traffic stops. Again, we appreciate the quick actions of Governor Holcomb and his administration in rapidly moving forward with this, and also the fact that we are seeing progress in terms of trying to avoid any potential future tragedies from occurring during police-citizen encounters. Moving on, we have, as all of you know, on January 23rd of 2019, made an announcement of our 2019 Moving Forward press conference. In that announcement, we included a calling for a technology proposal for the IMPD. A significant amount of attention was placed on our affirming of our support for a body-worn camera program for the IMPD. It should be noted that that position remains the same as it has for the last 5 years. However, it received significant attention. There was also many other technology components that were also included in that call, and we have stayed firm on seeking a funding package for all of those technological advancements for the police department. An update on the body-worn camera process. As you know, shortly after our announcement, the mayor of Indianapolis made an announcement related to a pilot program for the body-worn camera program in the calendar year 2019. We also called for that, but also noted in our announcement that it should undoubtedly overlap the next municipal elections. However, the mayor in his initial announcement shared that the department was looking at a pilot program of only 60 days, and it was even suggested that that would launch from March 2019 through May 2019. We have had follow-on dialogue with both the chief of police of the IMPD as well as the mayor, relaying our concerns about such an abbreviated timeline for a pilot project, while recognizing what the intent is related to that. So you know the intent was to stay on a timeline that would match up with any budgetary proposals for the calendar year of 2020 would have to be completed in August of 2019 for the introduction of the budget through the City County Council that would be voted upon in approximately October of 2019. While we recognize that and appreciate that, we still contend that such an abbreviated process is unwarranted, unnecessary, and quite frankly raises concerns for us, both related to safety issues for our officers and the public in terms of training and understanding of the equipment, but also managing expectations of what a successful program can really look like. And we do not want to rush any program. At the same time, we don't want to have any unnecessary delays. What we have contended is that perhaps it is more effective to slow down to speed up into the future. So with that, we had follow-on discussions. I'm pleased to report that the consensus that I got from the chief of police and the mayor is they do understand that there will quite possibly need to be a more extended pilot program, as well as perhaps a date for that to begin later in this calendar year than March of 2019. The chief did include in his announcement that there would be 3 service districts that would be piloting the program, and those would only occur on middle shifts for North District, East District, and Southeast District. The Chief's administration came up with that solely on their own. That is under their purview. They are moving forward with a request for information from potential vendors. What we want to encourage is whenever we get this pilot program going, is that all of our officers who are involved, even if they're not too excited about being the ones testing the technology, it is important for any of those folks to remember that you are doing that on behalf of all of our officers for the police department, and we are all relying upon you to thoroughly evaluate the equipment, really tear them apart, find what is working, what doesn't work, and also give good report and feedback to the department so that they can make good informed decisions about which vendor would be the best option for our agency. We have also had follow-on discussions specifically with Captain Turner, who has been tasked with leading the effort of implementing the body-worn camera program. we have been able to share information with him from our General Counsel, Leo Blackwell, who is actually one of the 5 representatives that helped research and evaluate best practices for all of the United States law enforcement through the National Fraternal Order of Police. We were able to share those findings with him, and we were able to inform him really of best practices and how to avoid pitfalls that have already been identified. The key involved in all of this is our desire to ensure that there is some good scenario-based training that is incorporated with any body-worn cameras through the department. As a result, we called for a safety equipment committee meeting, which is established and provided by contract with the chief and the director of our training bureau, Commander Rick Riddle. Myself and our vice president, Kevin Kendall, completed that meeting in which we stepped through our concerns related to the need for scenario-based training prior to those cameras going out into the field. We would contend even for the pilot program. By that, what we mean is activating, deactivating, utilizing the equipment, testing it out will all require additional steps in decision-making and thought processes in real time while officers are taking enforcement actions and conducting investigations. We would contend that it would be of value to practice that decision-making, build that into the officer's procedures and natural practices before doing that in real time on the street, so that we can hopefully avoid any unforeseen tragedies where an officer is distracted by trying to utilize the equipment and have something affect their safety or the safety of others because they're distracted by that. At the time of our discussions, there was not a process built in to allow for that. We are hopeful that the chief will reconsider, and Commander Riddle will also help facilitate any scenario-based training for our officers. The chief and the mayor also have acknowledged that they do believe that we probably need to extend the pilot timeline and move the date for the beginning of that. We have also commissioned a follow-up discussion with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office on the behalf of our membership to better understand what policy considerations need to be given from the prosecutor's office related to the use of a body-worn camera program. It is important that we have engagement with all of our criminal justice partners on what impacts such a program can have, and also better understanding what unanticipated ripple effects can occur so that we do not unnecessarily threaten a successful prosecution on a criminal investigation or any unintended release of information and evidentiary issues, specifically with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. As a result, I do believe there will be follow-on dialogue between the Prosecutor's Office, the Chief's administration, as well as the City administration. So we are out of all that. I believe there's a consensus that is forming to robustly move forward with the body-worn camera program, but trying to identify how we can roll that in phases rather than trying to do it all at once, and perhaps, again, creating unintended negative consequences for the public or our officers. In addition, as I said, we recommended other technology, specifically gunshot detection systems, mobile and static public safety cameras, as well as mobile and static license plate reader platforms. Those are also require significant funding, but we are already in the process as the FOP of looking at other best practices and existing systems that are in place. As a result, we are looking at the initial steps of examining programs for gunshot detection systems, LPRs, public safety cameras, and body-worn cameras within the state of Indiana with the South Bend Police Department. We are looking at meeting and reviewing programs at the Columbus, Ohio Police Department, and we have already engaged in initial conversations with representatives from the Los Angeles Police Department. And we will update you as we move forward with those assessments that we are completing on behalf of our membership and their families. Next up, we have also circled back around to discussing the decentralized fleet for the IMPD and the need for an updated audit of our entire fleet. Our concern is now becoming the extensive mileage that are on a good number of vehicles in the fleet, as well as the age of those vehicles, and the quality of those vehicles becoming a safety issue. Chief Roach concurred with that and confirmed with us that he will be moving forward with further research on the overall fleet and will be commissioning another audit of the fleet to see what vehicles need to be rotated out and what the thresholds should be set for that. In addition, we made clear our concerns about the challenges with pool cars whenever a vehicle is down for repairs, and also the need to ensure that we maintain a decentralized fleet that allows for that specialized, customized equipment to always be available to our officers, whether they are on duty or off duty, and in any of the area that is serviceable by our police vehicles, specifically regionally within the surrounding counties as well. We also confirmed that we have maintained good practices with our specialized equipment inclusive of our trauma kits, and are seeing the value of that being displayed time and again by the use of our officers. So please keep that up and let us know whenever that occurs. In addition, we also had significant discussions about the need for a patrol rifle certification course being offered again, so that we can get additional officers enrolled and utilizing such equipment, especially within operations. We have found that while that had occurred before in the past, many officers have moved, transitioned, transferred around the department, and we have many districts and shifts that are being left very thin regarding this tactical equipment that enhances the safety of our officers and our residents. As a result of those discussions, Chief Roach did confirm that there were initial plans to move forward with both a spring and fall certification course this year in 2019 at IMPD. However, there have been some additional infrastructure challenges that still remain at our firearms training range. So neither one of those can occur. Due to that, we made a request to the chief to consider authorizing the use of a surrounding county firearms range for their infrastructure, utilizing our training personnel so that we could get one of these completed. The chief did authorize Commander Riddle to do the research on that, with the thought process of looking for a potential fall rifle certification course in a surrounding county in 2019. The chief also has taken under advisement the request to have some certification courses offered for patrol shotguns as well. In addition, we had discussions related to our FTO program. There's been an extensive, really increased burden placed on our FTOs due to the significant hiring that continues to occur within the police department. It was made clear that we currently have 160 FTOs, and we are undoubtedly going to need 210 with the larger future classes that are projected. As a result, we strongly encourage the department to move back to upholding the FTO incentives that are in place to ensure that we have the ability to recruit existing officers to fulfill that role as being a field training officer. Commander Riddle did affirm that he is returning to existing incentives, and it is hopeful that that will help draw potential candidates to be FTOs. Finally, we had discussion related to the need to make sure that we are also calling out our negotiators anytime on-duty SWAT call-outs are being made. And I do believe the department is moving in that direction. That is the right thing to do, and just ensure that nothing is missed anytime those calls for service are occurring. We are also moving forward with our surrounding agencies in our membership there. We are moving forward with establishing that other cities, towns, and schools committee that we have formed. I have asked Lauren Rimke from the Speedway Police Department to serve as the chair of that committee. We are filling the representative seats at the table, and we are hopeful to have the first meeting of that committee completed within the first quarter of 2019. Again, I believe that we are well representative of those agencies and our sisters and brothers from those other agencies. However, I do want to take the extra step to ensure that things are not only that things are not slipping through the cracks, but also that we take advantage of sharing information and looking at best practices on the labor front for those other agencies. With that concludes a lot of information, but very important. I would wrap up by just again reiterating, please go and vote on Tuesday February 26th for the Merit Board elections. If anyone has any questions related to any of the information that I shared today, please contact me directly. As always, you can also follow me for breaking news items on Twitter via my Twitter handle, which is @Rick FOP 86. I am always available here at the Lodge as well for any questions, inquiries, suggestions, or thoughts. As always, take care, stay safe. I hope to see you at a roll call soon, and keep looking up. God bless.